Well, it's a big night here on the Jack Henke Show, most of all because Jack's not here, so that always is a pleasure and a joy. But nonetheless, we are celebrating a big event coming up this Saturday with our good friends over at Blossom IDD and Sam Bear, who is here as well. And Sam, I'm going to let you introduce our incredibly esteemed guest, and then I will jump in. So do what you do good.
Yes, guys, we are super excited. And I wanted to introduce you guys to our main event this Saturday is Paul Cebar. He's here on the show. Paul, why does your background look so much cooler than mine?
Why is my what?
Your background, like you just look like you're in such like a hip, chic, like music environment, and here I am in my office. Womp, womp, womp.
Well, it's sort of my office.
It looks like that did not come together in one day. It looks like you've been building bits of that over time.
I'm sure
gathering, yeah.
An interior designer who did it, like, you know, he paid millions of dollars for it to look cool, right, Paul?
Oh, yeah. So, my partner might beg to differ.
So I have to bring this up right away that actually Paul owes me $80, and let me tell you why.
Oh my God, sorry, Paul. I didn't know
I'm good for it. Gotta understand.
Let's flash back to the mid-90s. I'm driving through Shorewood, and I just gotten a new cassette called That Unhinged Thing. You might be familiar with it,
yeah.
Paul. And I'm driving late night through Milwaukee, and I mean, the music's just got me. I'm screaming along with the tape deck and slamming my hand on the dashboard. And not at all watching for traffic lights.
Oh, I see.
So $80 later. So your cassette cost me not $12.99 at Musicland, but actually $92.99
or $90.99.
Yeah. So, but it was.
I guess we should have put a little warning label on there.
Yeah, honestly, it seems like it.
Don't listen and drive. But Paul, of course, who has just a long, history in Milwaukee and southeastern Wisconsin and the Globe, but we won't get into the Globe today because we just have a little bit of time. But Paul, a couple of albums there, That Unhinged Thing I mentioned, and The Get Go, which I love, and also the Funky, what was that other one there that I always lose?
Upstroke for the Down.
That one, yes. So let me ask you this: when we see you on Saturday, do you have a cluster of? Do you kind of do the pluck something from every release there, or do you have some new material?
There will be a selection from any number of our records. We're still doing a few tunes from Unhinged Thing. That record just turned 30 years old.
Oh my gosh!
I don't know how it happened. I must.
All right, so is now the time when I tell you how old I am, Paul, or do you want to wait for that for a different time of your life?
That's interesting though, because that record really, it was a very vocal stamp of Paul Cebar and the Milwaukeeans are here. I mean, it was. I remember when everyone was talking about it at that time, and it's nice that we're still talking about it 30 years later.
It is. It's very nice. And I was pleasantly surprised the last time I heard it that it was when you're making a record, you're kind of thinking of all the things you didn't do.
Sure.
And when you let it out in the world for a while, it starts to have its own life, and you can kind of hear all the things that you were trying to do that you actually did do.
Well, that's interesting. We love talking about the creative process here on the show quite a bit, and that's something we've drilled down on, is that you can control it up to a certain point, and then I guess either it controls you in a good way, or maybe sometimes not. I don't know.
Sometimes some sort of melding.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what you hope for.
Absolutely. So, currently, are you obviously doing live dates as here in Cedarburg, but are you going to be doing any recording going forward anymore? Or are you mostly looking?
We've just finished recording a record, but I have not figured out how it's going to come out.
Okay.
So we're sort of in that strange, the baby's ready, but we have to find all bunting and everything.
Well, yes,
funny.
it's easy to make a baby, but
That's right.
raising a baby.
That's right. The
That's the real
gestation
thing,
period was pleasurable.
without a doubt.
All
Fantastic.
right, guys. Do you want me to step off the show while you guys have a chat?
We're okay, Sam.
This is actually quite normal for the Jack Henke show, so nothing.
Yeah, well, you may not know this, but this show could not be more inappropriate at all times. So you're right, par for the course. Everything's going great.
All right.
Being a library radio station and a nonprofit, it's remarkable the amount of freedom we have. It's shocking.
I'm surprised people give us microphones, honestly. And like, I don't even have a microphone. I just have a Zoom camera. So here we are.
Well, speaking of radio and microphones, Paul, you're still on WMSE Wednesdays 9 to noon, correct?
That's correct.
That and that show's been on quite some time too. You've been doing that for a while.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out. It's somewhere 37 years or
Oh my
something
gosh.
like that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's been a while.
I'm pretty sure I was listening in the earliest days, so that's amazing to me as well. It's wonderful. The music you play on that show is my only complaint is that they just give you 3 hours because I want a station of that. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I can get, but of course it does get archived, and you can grab it on the WMSE website
That's true.
as well. So,
Yeah,
which is cool.
It's exciting actually to go back. I mean, the archives go back sometime around 2010, I think, at this juncture. But
Wow.
they're in the vaults. They've got a bunch of other stuff.
Nice. Most of that stuff comes from your own personal collection, or do you?
Most of it does.
Yeah.
The station has quite a great library now after all these years, and I could do the show there, but I tend to just find new stuff and travel around and try to bring in whatever I'm finding that's tripping the old trigger.
Well, and let's talk about that a little bit, because the music business, or even just scene or whatever in general, I mean, you've been around it for so long and obviously have seen drastic changes. Are you comfortable with where things are at, either on the Milwaukee scene or also just on the national scene when it comes to where music's at now, where
It's there's always been challenges. We've always been kind of coming in from some isolated juncture and trying to find our way into the stream.
Sure.
And there's pluses and minuses for all the things that are developing. I mean, I think the internet has opened many more eyes up to things that, in a way that, I mean, it's extremely complicated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's pluses and minuses at every step.
Yeah.
But it's, I mean, I find I've enjoyed recording lately. I think that, I worked with a guy in Chicago by the name of Alex Hall. He has a studio called Reliable Recorders. And I really enjoyed working with him.
Nice.
And there's a great community of musicians down there that we had a few guests in, but in general, we used the Tomorrow Sound Band.
Nice.
Which is the way we call our band now.
Sure.
And I'm real proud of it. I just have to figure out how it's going to come.
Yeah. We have another musician who was on a few weeks ago and talking about, he finished an album in Nashville, and he said that it's so not like what he thought it was going to be when it comes to putting it out there, and it's all just plays on Spotify and all that kind of stuff. And he said it's good. He said there's actually a lot of really nice, but you are more responsible for bringing your music to people than ever before, I think is what he was kind of underscoring. I don't know if that's something you've encountered as well, that like it's not, you can't lean on a big machine anymore, because that machine is kind of gone. Yeah,
it's diffused, and you have to find what little part of it you can use.
Sure, absolutely, yeah. And same with that. Yeah.
I have a question for you. Okay,
yeah.
So when Cindy prompted that you were coming on the show, she had noted that it used to be Paul Cebar and the Milwaukeeans.
That's right.
But now it's Paul Cebar.
Tomorrow Sound.
What can you tell me, just so I can understand, how did that shift, and like what was?
It's been about I think we did the shift about 16 years ago, something like that.
Okay.
but we did build up a lot of memory, and there's a lot of people that are familiar with me as a Milwaukeean. So we kind of allow people to call us whatever they want to call us.
Whatever works,
But
right?
the last 2 records have come out under the name Tomorrow Sound.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Milwaukee's was a big. I mean, you would have needed quite the bus because that was a big band. I mean, I remember seeing you guys, and it was a crowd on stage.
Yeah, there was. I mean, it was 7 people for the longest period,
Yeah.
and then it kind of we went down to 6, then we went down to 5, and
Right.
when we got to this 4 configuration, I thought I'd change the name and change the sort of people's idea of where we're at, and
Nice.
maybe make them curious enough to come check it out.
Yeah. The just to give people a little more background too. How did this start for you? Like, what is it? The same old story of when you were a kid? Someone gave you a 45, and it was all over from there.
I didn't really start playing music till quite late, but
Okay.
the whole the mid 60s, the Beatles and everybody else, the Motown situation, all the soul music that was coming out of Chicago. The radio was really powerful. As a kid, I was glued to it. My father was was the AV guy at the school that he taught at out in Fox Point. He taught at Fox Point School. And so he would bring home a turntable, and we got hep to there was a little store on Grandma's Corner in West Dallas where they were selling jukebox records after they pulled them off the jukeboxes, and then they'd have them like 10 for $1.
Just shredded.
They were quite played, but we were able to go and marry my sister, and we'd go around the corner at Grandma's and sit there looking and pull out all these 45s. And so I got hooked pretty early, and then started playing when I was in high school is when I kind of played for real, and started playing live just after that.
Do you remember your first live show?
It's kind of hard to pin down. I mean, I did shows in college where we had kind of an ongoing coffee house situation.
Oh, sure.
And I would play that. There was like Prima Pizza.
Uh-oh. I think we got that internet hiccup again there.
Yeah.
You've got us riveted with these stories, so when you drop out, it's just like, huh?
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure how riveting, but
no,
I remember the Prima's Pizza was on the UWM campus, and there were a couple of coffee houses there.
Excellent.
There was a coffee house on 19th Street called the Coffee House, and some of those places were the earliest places that I played.
Yeah. Is it still? I guess this is an existential question. Is it still as fun? You still find just playing live still that
live
same
is the greatest.
Yeah.
I mean, I love seeing live music, and I love being a part of it. And there is really it's a different connection. It's a connection with the crowd.
Yeah.
Connection with the band and the crowd, and they could each of us can lift the whole thing. So it's still a real kick.
Awesome. That's great. Well, coming up on Saturday night, you're going to light up the Cedarburg Cultural Center, and that's a
great place.
Absolutely. That's going to be a lot of fun, and we're definitely looking forward to it. And wow, yeah, this is a thrill. So we'll go off the air, and I'll start breathing again.
I've never seen him like this, Paul. Usually he doesn't have he can't shut his mouth fast enough with all of the things that come out. He's like, well, he's lost for words today.
I don't want to cramp his style, man.
Well, I'm still searching for style, so I have no style to cramp. So that's quite all right. That's quite all right.
No, awesome.
That's even my first album, Nothing to Cramp. So, anyway,
I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm glad, I'm glad to be a part of the it's a great cause.
Absolutely.
And it looks like we've got, a fair amount of people already, have come up to, pay for the
Oh, yeah.
ticket and, are contributing to the cause. And so it's great.
Well, Sam's pretty new to downtown Cedarburg, and she's a dynamo. It's like what she has pulled off in like what, a year and a half, 2 years?
Yeah, it was. I started with Cindy and Mike September of 21. So I just started I'm on my 3rd year working with.
Amazing.
Everything.
So
Yeah,
it's done some wonderful stuff. But I'm a little worried because your music tends to make people move a lot. And so I'm just kind of afraid you're going to break the Cedarburg Cultural Center. But that's okay. It's insured. Go ahead.
We did a New Year's party there maybe, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago.
Really? I didn't know that.
And nothing broke. So
they just finished cleaning up last week. It's awesome.
Jeff was actually at that New Year's party. He was hiding like a fanboy in the back. Like,
what I do. Yeah, it's quite terrifying. Anyway, but
no, Jeff, this is gonna be different from last year. That we actually have a dance floor out. So last year, with Tony really, I don't know if Paul, if you've heard of Tony Memel. He was our concert last year. So Tony was born and he only has a partial part of his arm. So he straps, with Gorilla Glue, like the Gorilla Glue tape, his pick onto his arm. And he plays the guitar, and he moved down from Wisconsin with his wife and family to Nashville, and they came up. They were amazing. They also run a camp for people with disabilities in Texas, or are part of it, called Camp Blessing. So a lot of parallels. But anyway, he was there last year around October. But it was much more of him telling his story. It was really inspirational, which was incredible. His music was wonderful.
Sure.
But this year, I think it's going to be a little bit different of a vibe. It's really going to be, we have a dance floor. Yes, we have a full house, more people than we did last year. We're over the 200 mark, which is super exciting. Capacity's 300, so don't you fret. We still got more space. I think Cindy will have a minor stroke if I get us up to capacity, but like, hey, you never know.
These things happen.
But it's gonna be really fun.
I was wondering if I should post to my social media.
Yeah, we would love that. We would love that. The more tickets, the better. So all of the proceeds are going to support Blossom IDD, the nonprofit. And we have a ton of stuff that's packed in for 2024. Although we're only 2 years old, we've increased our programming. We're up by 300%. We're really like cruising at a fast pace.
You are. I work a few blocks down, and we have to hold on to stuff while Sam's doing her thing, because it's just like this kind of sonic boom on Washington Avenue.
It is not true. That is not me driving my car either. It's the organization.
That's right.
Good stuff. Well, again,
it'll be fun.
I have to thank you again, Paul, for many years of, your music has always been there when if I was at a low point, I'd throw in the get-go and feel a whole lot better. So for that, of course, I have to thank you personally.
Oh, thank you.
Definitely appreciate it.
If
If you can sneak in,
I know you have more you want to say. Just get it out.
If you can sneak in, clap for the couple off of, on Saturday night. You'll hear me screaming in the background.
We played a 60th birthday party over the weekend, and we did have a request for that.
Perfect.
So we played through it last week. So maybe
it's fresh. It's fresh. Very good.
Maybe we can get on the good foot for
that.
it.
Sounds fantastic. Well, thanks again, Paul, and we will see you Saturday night. I hope we see all of you too. Come on down. All right.
Thank you very much.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for joining, Paul.
All right.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Sam.